individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
What you see here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from going on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether it's going to put a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed, the aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses. And we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted,
That's the Party Next Door. Party Next Door came out when I was living in Cobleskill, New York, because I had somebody using a brain-computer interface next door to me, and it's been following me. And I don't know if this always has been the case of somebody pulling up next door to me, living next door to me with a BCI. But brain-computer interfaces are real and confirmed technology, and the bitch next door is using one. And it's being broadcast to this entire community of Saipan. And that's why these creeps are always creeping around here in their cars for no reason, using that fucking pharmacy as a cover. And these fucking people got 50 cars in this nasty building parking lot next door that, you know, these cars are out of place by looking at that building. This is a whole fucking mess because of some shit like what Bill Gates is talking about in this video. And they're trying to lie and act like I'm crazy because that's the only way they can hide this shit, man. They're using a brain-computer interface on me, and they feeding my brain waves out to fucking thousands and thousands of people, man.
Sleeplessness, sexual arousal. 2015 monitors vital signs of subject via remote application of radar waves, handheld. And then here's one from 2002. Remotely transmit intelligible subjective sound into targeted consciousness. Voice to skull. Oh, and who's the original assignee? The United States Air Force. And so, would the U.S. deep state government use such patents? Oh, hey again. So you know when you share stuff online and then you inevitably get comments of people calling you a crazy conspiracy theorist that it's not possible that the government could do such a thing? And sometimes just in my leisure reading, I like to read U.S. patents, don't you? So if you just go to the deep state machine that we call Google, just look up U.S. patent number 6470214. Oh, what do you know? Directed energy weapon, targeted individual patents from the year 2000. Pulsative manipulation of central nervous system. Published in 2002, method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. And this fun one from 2013 has 4 different assignees. Controls brain state by placing engineered EMF patterns into the AC wiring of a building. And from 2014, induced desired brain state in person by adding waves into a music file. And from the year 2000, induces desired emotional state through an EMF, sleeplessness, sexual arousal. 2015 monitors vital signs of subject via remote application of radar waves, handheld. And then here's one from 2002. Remotely transmit intelligible subjective sound into targeted consciousness. Voice to skull. Oh, and who's the original assignee? The United States Air Force. And so, would the U.S. deep state government use such patents? Oh, hey again. So you know when you share stuff online and then you inevitably get comments of people calling you a crazy conspiracy theorist that it's not possible that the government could do such a thing? And sometimes just...
But so what? Why am I telling you all of this? Palantir has no problem being seen as Big Brother, as all-powerful, as lethal even.
We're at the brink of using these technologies potentially to run our government, to run our battlefields, and our personal lives. Using artificial intelligence as a sort of panacea solution across our federal departments, and especially when they're, again, wielded by people with a very distinct agenda, puts everyone at risk.
It almost feels like that's been the plan all along. Here's co-founder Peter Thiel in 2010 at Libertopia, a libertarian conference, speaking about tech companies and government.
The basic idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
And here's Alex Karp in 2009 on civil liberties with regards to Palantir's work.
The central question, in my view, of civil liberties is how, it's not if the government has data, because let's assume the government has as much data as a health insurance company. It's how is that data being used? Is it being used in a way that's lawful? Meaning, do they have the right to use it? And is it being migrated into places it's not allowed to be used? We allow the enforcement of rules that the government ought to enforce. And by the way, my experience is they want to enforce, or at very least know they need to enforce. And if it's framed in that way, then you can have what is the ultimate Silicon Valley solution.
One co-founder openly wants to use the power of the tech industry to affect politics. The other wants his company to have oversight over how the government data they're paid to handle is used. And the founders of Palantir will retain control in the company no matter what, through an obscure ownership structure. Their Class F shares grant them 49.99% of voting power even if they collectively own as little as 6% of the company.
At the start of this journey, I was extremely afraid for the repercussions of this writing, of speaking out, but now I'm like, you know, even more convinced that this is absolutely necessary.
We can't replace our current broken system with an even more broken one. And we can't let the worst people in Silicon Valley become our government.
It's not about whether you're actually at risk for speaking out or not. It's just the idea that somebody's watching you is enough to push people into silence.
Disease. I'll get to in some of the latest slides how this disease, which we surmised early on, started off in the male homosexual population in this country. Not that there was anything intrinsically different or wrong or what have you about homosexuality. It was very simple. It's straightforward epidemiology. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population in which the spread among those individuals, if it's sexual contact spread, it's a perfect setup to spread. In any event, what we had was a concentration of cases, as you'll see here, in the New York metropolitan area, New York City and New Jersey, and in Los Angeles. Take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population. You take an infectious agent and you introduce it into a population in which the spread among those individuals, if it's sexual contact spread, it's a perfect setup to spread.
There's a lot of people that are interested in the Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, and I want to tell you why I believe that it's possible that the Egyptians were in the Grand Canyon, not only in the Grand Canyon, but in the western United States. Sometime in the early 90s, I became aware of an Egyptian artifact that was found in Pocatello, Idaho. It was a piece of alabaster rock that was the size and shape of a chicken egg, and it had some markings on it. This egg was found in 1918, this rock egg, by a young girl. For whatever reason, she kept it all her life, and when she became older, she developed cancer. Anyways, her granddaughter was there visiting her, and she happened to come across it, so she gave it to her granddaughter. That granddaughter kept it all her life because it was something special that was given to her by her grandmother before she passed away. In 1977, this lady, Kathy Kincaid, was in the dentist's office, and this was the time that King Tut's tomb was making its rounds in the United States, the artifacts out of his tomb, and the Smithsonian Magazine put out an article on it, and Kathy was in the dentist office and reading that Smithsonian article, and she seen in there the exhibits of King Tut's tomb, and that there was markings, the exact same markings that was on this egg that her grandmother gave her. The exact same markings was on King Tut's tomb. Well, all these years from 1918, they always thought that these things were Indian markings that were on this egg. So anyway, she took this egg down to the University of Berkeley and had them look at it, and they authenticated that it was a piece of alabaster that came from Egypt, and that the markings on this egg was King Tut's high priest signature on one side of the rock and the cartouche of his name on the other. Now keep in mind that they didn't break into King Tut's tomb until 1922, yet this Egyptian alabaster egg was found in Pocatello, Idaho in 1918 before they ever knew anything.
This AI assistant can read your internal monologue without you having to speak or type. This is huge because I have so many friends who are working in brainwave wearables. The problem is it always has to be invasive. That's why Neuralink cannot scale, because they literally have to open up your skull and stick probes into your brain to get the accuracy they want. But with this device, Ultra Ego, it can read your internal monologue as long as you're voicing it internally, like saying, "What's the time now?" internally, without moving your mouth. And it's outputting the feedback through your bones, so it's perfect for people who have speaking and hearing problems, as well as for lazy people like me who doesn't want to speak to my voice agents all the time, because speaking takes energy. I'm too lazy to speak sometimes.